Welcome again to Discipleship Diagnostics, the videos that help answer all the questions that you have about discipleship and the Discipleship Pack.
Yeah, and these videos are really great for youth leaders. I remember one time we were working with a group of young people and we said, what made Jesus different from any other human? And one boy piped up and he said, he didn't have a wife. And just like that, from across the room, another kid said, yeah, he didn't need one. He could just create his own dinner.
So today's question comes from Caspian, who's based in Banbury.
Hey guys, how do we know what areas of growth to start looking at when we want to disciple our young people?
So this is really good because in our last video we talked about what we do with our discipleship time, and one of those key components was that intentional input, and I think this question really hits at the heart of that. So Darin, I know that this is something that you've got a lot of thoughts about. Do you want to unpack some of this intentional time for us a bit, and try not to go on for too long or we'll have to cut you off?
Yeah, this area really gets at one of the key skills of discipleship, which is having a picture of your end goal, what does spiritual maturity look like, and being able to assess where a person is at right now. And I do think this is where the Discipleship Pack is really helpful, because in it you'll find a spiritual self-assessment to help you and the person you're discipling kind of evaluate where they're at. And there's about 25 questions, and it just helps to highlight some potential growth areas. We've also mixed in some fun questions just so young people don't get too bored, and to let them kind of come up for air and not feel like that questionnaire is too intense. So there's some fun questions in there.
What do you mean by fun questions? Like, if Jesus was one of the Spice Girls, what would his name be?
Or if you could do without one of your fingers, which one would you cut off and why?
Or if you were a cheese, what type of cheese would you be and why?
Or who's your favourite singer, Johnny Cash or Bruce Springsteen?
So you get your young people to fill in the spiritual self-assessment, kind of see what areas to focus on. Do you actually do that during your time together?
Yeah, I do. I've always done it during the group time, and I found young people engage with it really well. But I usually preface it with a couple things. I start out by saying, look, first of all, this isn't a test, so you cannot fail it.
Oh, well, that's good news for Claire then.
Yep, and then I say, hey, just be honest. There's no shame in not knowing something or feeling like you have never experienced that area. So just be honest, because we're all going to identify areas that we can grow in here. That's the point of it.
That's great. And so once you've identified those areas, where do you go with it next then?
Yeah, usually I start out by saying, how did you guys find that? How did you find answering those questions? Did you enjoy it? Did it feel too intense? Did you learn anything about yourself? And sometimes I'll have a few questions that I want to hear their answers on as a group. Sometimes I've said to each person, all right, you get to pick a question that you want to hear everybody else's responses for, and we'll just take some time to hear what people put on their questionnaire.
I've done that before too, but sometimes it can still feel a bit intense. So it might be that they struggle with the English literacy side of it, and so it feels overwhelming that there's that many words on a page they've got to respond to. So I might give it verbally to them and just discuss it by asking a couple of the questions. Or sometimes I've just laid out the pack or given them one section of questions at a time and said, well, why don't you look at them and just pick out the ones that are interesting for you that you think you'd like to go through.
These are really good thoughts. Unfortunately, we're out of time again. But if you're starting to notice the theme of what we're talking about and feeling like this sounds very intentional, then you're exactly right, because that's what we try to be with our discipleship. So hopefully as you continue to watch these videos, that's something that will come across more and more, as this idea of being intentional in the way that you disciple others. But yeah, thanks for watching, and tune in next time for more Discipleship Diagnostics.